All right. So yeah, Ray, it's an awesome opportunity to be able to talk with you today about Jerry Isham, and I really appreciate your time. And I know y'all are like lifelong friends, so I guess I was going to start off with asking how you met him.
Yeah, well, it's okay, my mom my mom was born in 1940 and Jerry born in 39. And how this all came together was back at the time when they were building the TVA in Kingston. My mom and all her siblings and my grandparents were living in Dayton, Tennessee. And so they moved to Midtown. So my grandfather would work at the TVA at the time when I think they was building it. And so the road that they moved on to, it was called Duncan Hollow Road, which is Jerry's mom's maiden name. They own a lot of property in the areas. They own a lot of land, and his mother was like she owned a bunch of businesses and homes that she would rent out.
Right.
And so on this road on Duncan Hollow, they lived down one end of it. I say they were about maybe half a mile apart, something like that. And then there was an old building on the other end of the hollow where my mom and her siblings were living in. And Jerry told me it used to be when people were coming in from TVA to work, it was like a washroom on the bottom to do their laundry, and the top part was an office. So they live upstairs, but my grandparents didn't live there. I'm not sure where they was living at, but so my mom went walking on Duncan Hollow Road one day, and there's a house sitting there. And she asked about it, and my grandfather got the house. Well, that meant they were a little closer to Jerry and his family. Like I said, it was about a half a mile apart. So now I think I may be wrong about this, but I think this is how this came about. My grandfather originally was a farmer. They all live on a farm in Dayton, and he was raising pigs. Well, my mom told me, Jerry would come over because they were still kids at the time in 1953, because Jerry told me this.
Right.
And so my grandfather was raising pigs, and I guess Jerry got real interested in that. I remember him, even when I was little, my grandfather was still raising pigs. And I remember Jerry, even as a little kid, coming around helping my grandfather. Well, then as I got older, I didn't realize he was singing. He was recording, and he had a 45 made of the original version of Hogman.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so he gave me the record, which I don't know. I wish I knew where that was at. But he gave me the record in 1975. And I was playing, I was just laughing. But first of all, you don't even need a record to hear him because he's just naturally was a funny person anyways. But the record, I really got sold on that song, Hogman.
Right.
And then he did have a little bit of a serious side to him. A little bit of a serious side, but he's mostly all comical.
Right.
Actually, his whole family's like that.
It was comical, but he took it very serious, and he was very passionate about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, he was making music about as far back as you can remember. And from what I gather, was he a little bit older than you, maybe?
Well, he was born. See, he was born. My mom was born in 1940. I was born in 1962. So Jerry was born in 1939. He was just a year older than my mom. So now Jerry had younger brothers. He got one brother still living. So he had, let's see, he had a younger brother and two older brothers, if I'm not mistaken.
So he more than likely got all his his hog like passions from your family and your grandfather's farm. Because I know he eventually started owning his own hogs, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, see, if he did, I know something was mentioned about it. I just don't know where he was. If he was doing it, I don't know where. Because see, what everybody really remembers him the most uh, of was that he had signs all over Midtown that said Jerry's Boat Sale. He
Right.
sold boats,
For 20 years, he
and
had a shop out there, I read.
yeah, yeah, it was right across the street. He had hand painted signs. I remember they were white. He just wrote with black paint Jerry's Boat Sale, and he nailed them up on the trees. And so yeah, he was selling boats for the longest time. But and then I kind of lost track of him because in '86 I moved to Texas to go to work down there.
Oh, yeah?
And then I left Texas in 2008. See, I'm in Ohio now. I came up here to take care of my dad at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, you know what? I was telling my wife, I said, since it's not that far to drive from where we're at back to Tennessee, it's about a 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
So we would just go down there, and then I hooked up with Jerry, and he goes, here, he gave me a bunch of his CDs. I know the link you sent in the mail, you said about 8 albums. My wife was reading it. She goes, that, I said, oh, no, I couldn't tell you how many he had. I got a bunch of them.
Right. Well, yeah, I'd love to potentially help you get those digitized down the road if that's something you're interested in. And I was even going to ask if his family is interested in any of these records. The stuff that digitized, I'd always be happy to donate to his family so they have some keepsakes or memories.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to tell you is now his brother, name is Philip. Okay, I used to have his number, and I was like, I don't know where it's at. But his nephew, name is Mark. I still talk to him to this day, and to me, him kind of. Okay, all right, this is how this worked. When my mom left for California, her brother got a job out in California, so she went following him out there. And she met my dad out there, and then I was born there. But every summer we would fly back to Tennessee, and so I would see Jerry's mom. I saw her all the time.
That's cool.
And the family. I just basically grew up with. I knew Mark. Me and Mark born the same year, and we would fly every summer. I stayed there the whole summer, every year. And then finally, my mom and dad got divorced. And she said, "What are we going to do?" And I said, "Well, let's move to Tennessee." She goes, "Good idea." So, and believe it or not, my mom bought a house right there on Duncan Hollow Road. Yeah.
And that's how it all happened.
Yeah.
And go ahead.
So, but when I moved in '86 to Texas, I came back 2008 and moved. I would go down there, and Jerry goes, "You have any of my CDs?" And I said, "CDs?" He goes, "Yeah." He said, "Here's a bunch of them." He gave me a whole bunch of them, and he said, "I'm writing, hog music, parodies." I said, "Parodies?" Well, I was good at that because I was friends with one of his cousins who was the same age as me. We used to sit around singing parody. We make up parodies. He didn't know that, and I said, "Well, I'll write a few. Would you record them?" He goes, "Sure." Cause he said, "Well, I belong to the Knoxville
Writers
Songwriters
Association."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was over there for I think an excess of 20 or 30 years at the bare minimum.
Yeah.
And I read
So
online you guys had written some music together. Thank you for bringing that up because I was going to ask about that.
yeah, uh, the video that you commented on is the stuff I wrote,
Right. Yeah, 4 of the
and
songs.
yeah, I was 4, and it might have been. But what I would do, cause my wife, everywhere I go, I make people laugh wherever I go. My wife said I should have been a comedian, but so I was sitting there listening to the radio one day, and this song came out, and it said, "I don't want to have to marry you," and I went, I don't want to have to carry you, and I start writing that out, and I gave it to Jerry. He goes, "Oh, you're pretty good at this." He said, "I'm gonna change a few words here and there," and he recorded anything I wrote. He recorded.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask. This is a wild card question, but there's a lot of videos online I can email you whenever we get off the phone of Hogman Jerry, with some people named Bat Poet and Melba Toast. Were those any names that you ever heard in your time being pals with Jerry?
what is it again?
There's a gentleman named Bat Poet and
Oh, the
Melba
Bat Poet.
Toast.
Yeah.
You remember them at all?
Uh, no, I don't know who that was, but now he was real good friends with Miss Mel Bateau.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's exactly what I was gonna ask about next.
Actually, she has a Facebook, and do you use Facebook?
Oh yeah, I saw that she's still active on there.
Yeah, yeah, yes. And who else were you asking about again?
Well, I asked about Bat Poet, but I don't think you knew too much about him. But I'll send you a link. I made a playlist of a bunch of videos that Jerry's in with the Hogman and Melba, and they're all really
Yeah,
cool. And he was actually in
yeah.
the documentary. There's Jerry's in a brief documentary in the mid 2010s where he performs and sings, and he actually has like an interview. And it looked like in that for a while, it looked like he was on the radio playing music and accepting calls and stuff like that.
Well, he was. Um, I got him. I started up a MySpace page for him, and then he was playing. I can't remember the name of the radio station, but they would live stream the show, a Blue Plate special, which I believe that's in Knoxville. Because I know he was always between Knoxville and Nashville.
Right.
But
Yeah, I saw that blue plate. There's a photo of him over there.
yeah. And then when he got on there, they go, "Would you believe it? Hall Man has a MySpace." And I'm sitting there cracking up, laughing. The Hall Man was like, "I don't know anything about that." So
Oh man.
I was in control of that.
Right.
And then what was good about that was he started. I told him, I said, "I'll take care of the MySpace for you, and if there's any questions that people are asking, I'll call you." Well, what started happening was he was getting calls to appear here and there, and I say, Masonic or something like that wants you to perform. He goes, "Sure, yeah, tell him I'll do it." I would set that up for him. And then even at one point, he couldn't believe this because I couldn't either. They wanted him to fly to London, England to perform. And I was like, huh. They started playing his music over there. But,
Wow.
yeah, that's where it just stopped right there.
Right. So he never ended up going to London.
No, no.
Well, you've honestly given me so much good stuff, and I do have like a few more questions.
Okay.
So yeah, like we were talking about Jerry performing, this actually segues into it. Did you ever hear the small area in Tennessee called Ciderville?
What was the name again?
It's called Ciderville.
Fireville.
It's a really small, mysterious area, and Jerry had performed there a few times in his days, and I just wanted to see if it was something you knew about by any chance.
No, I don't. It's hard. I mean, he was performing everywhere.
Yeah.
It's, it's hard to say. So,
Right. Well, I will say you've given a lot of the background of how he got into music and his early days and like the fascination with hogs and what kind of sent him on that direction. And even touching base on further stuff, if you ever need help ripping those CDs or anything like that, this is a nonprofit, so feel free if you ever want to mail something, I could ensure that it would get back to you. If that's something you ever are comfortable with, I could help you digitize what is left of the collection you do have, if you're interested.
I was thinking about telling you, Dad. I couldn't tell you how many CDs I have. That you want me to send them all to you, and then you can send them back, I guess.
I absolutely would. You have my website, my email, and I would 100% get them back to you. I could actually send them back probably the next day because it's
Yeah.
pretty quick to do CDs compared to cassettes or records.
Yeah. Well, I wish I knew where the. I believe I'm pretty sure about this. I believe Jerry's wife still has a box of 45, but nobody really talks to her because when I told Mark, I told him I was going to be talking to you. He didn't say anything. He was like, "Oh, okay," and I knew what he was thinking right away. He was probably thinking, "Brenda hear about this," so I
Right.
don't know. But
Well, I think his music's awesome though, and as much as he cared about it, I think he would probably want it to be more accessible where people can listen and laugh along and enjoy it.
yeah. Well, I'm hoping that. See, right now, Mark told me he's working a lot of overtime. So I told him, I said, just let your dad know when the first chance you get. And I told him, I said, let me know if they wanted to talk to you or not. And I haven't heard back. So what I'm going to do is a little later, I'm going to call Mark a little later and I'm going to tell him that I talked to you. And I'll just say, hey, just give Noah a call. And I think the deal is his brother Philip. When I mentioned, I said, "What do you think about Jerry being the Hogman?" He goes, He said, "I'll tell people that's my brother." So, I mean, everybody knows that's his brother, but I don't think he liked the idea of the way he would dress up and stuff. But I say, hey, he's doing what he likes.
Exactly. Yeah, he was a very cool individual person. You could tell he lived his life the exact way he wanted to. So,
Yeah.
his siblings and everyone may not have necessarily approved, but I can tell through watching this video footage and stuff, it almost feels like I even know him. He was such a personal dude.
Yeah, yeah, and the way you hear him talk, that's him. I mean, that's just him. That's just his natural self.
And he got all those Roadkill Cafe songs and all this great.
I still sing the lyrics to that. I tell my wife, I said, "You're gonna make German shepherd pie, chunk of skunk, and poodle noodles."
Man, I listen to his stuff and it's just a hoot. And like I said, it's been a blessing just getting to talk to you. Most of the information I could find out about him, I had to, go through newspaper archives and, just filter the internet for. So to get to sit here and talk to you is a blessing.
Thanks.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, like I said, I have a bunch, but I don't have his complete collection. And how that was working was anybody that bought a CD, what he would do is if you bought a CD from him, then once he got your address, he would send out CDs to people. He had just so you can include this information down. And what he would do is he would send everybody that bought from him, and maybe he would just give some away to certain people.
Right.
And he had a rate sheet, and it'll say the name of the songs on the paper. You're supposed to say good, fair, bad, something like that. And that way, what he was doing was he was trying to figure out what it is everybody wanted out of his music.
Yeah,
So
he
you would
wanted
rate his
criticism.
music. Yeah.
He wanted to get better and better and make people, happier with what he made. That is good to
Yeah.
know. That's the kind of stuff I was looking for to talk to you. Just that kind of word of mouth stuff where, you know, it never ends up on the web unless you have a conversation like this.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm trying to think of the same thing else that could help you out with Gary. Um,
Well, if you do think of something, feel free to email me. But
uh,
I'm gonna send you my address in case you ever want to send anything over. And if you do, that's great. If you don't, there's no pressure. But I can assure you this: it definitely will get digitized and preserved in a way, that's by archival standards. So that way, it's not only on a CD that could be lost or anything like that.
yeah. Okay.
But yeah,
All
it's
right.
been, and how'd you get the nickname Crazy Ray?
Even Gary would call me that because back in the day when I was a young guy, I used to have a road runner, and it was I was known around the county for my driving. Um, yeah, yeah. I guess you could say we between Gary's family and my family, we were like the crazy bunch.
Hey, that's how my family is a little bit.
Yeah, I used to drive like Oh, I'll tell you a funny story about that. I I outrun the cop one night, and then I got to talking to Jerry's cousin. She was best friends with my mom, and I didn't mention anything about me outrunning a cop. Then she goes, "You know what me and your mom used to do?" She said, "Back in the night," she said, "I remember this." She said, "Your grandfather has just bought a brand new 1957 Chevy Impala, and we was out riding around in Harriman, and we went down such and such street." And she said, "We outrun the cop," and I was like laughing. I go, "That must be in the gene because that's the same road I used to outrun one."
Oh, it runs in the family. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for calling. I'll go ahead and hop up off here, and I'll email you a link to this conversation so you can look back on it. And
I don't think the family, Jerry's family, don't really care
that's
too much.
that's
So
sad.
I know.
That's really
It
sad.
was well, 'cause I know could I heard her. Well, she called me one time. Like I said, she'd take them off the internet, and she said she would. Cause Gary's dream was to be in Nashville. He wanted to be famous.
Because if he wanted to be famous and wanted to be in Nashville, he definitely wanted it to be listenable. So, you know, it feels good to at least get it to where more people can enjoy it and listen to it. I've
Yeah,
introduced a lot of friends to Hogman, and they love his music.
yeah, yeah. He
So
was. Yeah,
it'll always live on. I know that much.
yeah.
But I'll send you an email in like probably 20 minutes, and I really appreciate your time, Ray.
No problem. And hopefully, I'll get to talk to you again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm really good. If scheduling a time is pretty good because I do work full time, but I'm always good for a phone call and could chop it up about Hogman or whatever.
Okay.
Hey,
Alrighty.
hey, you have a great
Okay.
day.
You too.
Bye
Thanks.
bye.
Bye.